Good day at this point. It's morning here. It's about 9:20 a.m. on Mountain Standard Time. Good times. So I wanted to check in, and today I wanted to talk about how belief is the key for us to succeed. Because it comes down to the basic understanding and belief, again, a belief that what you think is what you're going to create. So if you believe something and truly believe it, you will, like 99.9% of the time, succeed at that. If you don't believe it's possible, you will not succeed because you don't believe it's possible. So you're not going to believe in succeeding with it. And that is how extremely powerful our mind is. So just kind of jumping on to yesterday and talking about comfort and how comfort is really bad for us because comfort gets us in this belief that there's nothing really better because we already know it's not that bad. So we stay here in this comfort, which stagnates us and stops us from making the important movements forward because we're too comfortable, which can also be fear-based because the fear of the discomfort that comes with moving past your comfort zone and potential discomfort. There may not even be discomfort moving past your comfort, but you won't know, but you stop making that movement from the fear of the discomfort that you might run into. So it's just, and that is the same idea. It's the same belief. Like once you get into that discomfort and you need to change something, you believe there is something better than the discomfort you're already experiencing, right? So the reality is the discomfort I'm already experiencing in my daily life by what has happened and happening around me makes me motivated that, okay, well, this is going to be a discomfort and a huge change in my life, but that discomfort doesn't seem as scary as accepting a different outcome without doing anything. And what it comes down to is my belief. My belief is that my family and we can attract abundance by being our authenticity, which, if you haven't heard it, my purpose is to live, speak, and seek the truth in all forms to help reconnect humanity to true authenticity, into highest form, and just to come and reconnect because there's so little authenticity. We have all these problems that come up on the mainstream media where they selectively pick things to show you as problems, but there's never a really good solution. They're just highlighting it. And so it's this is all about being authentic and coming to the highest vibe. And the reality is, if you believe you can do something, you will be able to do it. You will be able to create it. You will consciously and unconsciously start taking those steps towards it. And the more attention you put towards something in a positive light without the fear and the lack of belief. So when you're really believing it, like you believe that you can lose 30 pounds and you will feel great. You believe that, you know it, you deep down keep telling yourself that you are going to lose it. This is what's going to happen. It's going to happen. It will happen. You will keep making the movements. But what will stop us will be sometimes deciding to limit our beliefs, get scared from them. Somebody comes and, just breaks up the party we have with this belief, right? And then we don't believe our belief is strong enough to what somebody else is saying. That's when we have to come back to our internal power, that we know ourselves and what we want. The person outside of us doesn't. They don't live our lives in our body, in our beings. They don't even exist as us. So they're not going to have that same experience. And they're not going to see things the same way as we see them in our own being, right? And that's just the complexity of how our lives work. But if you believe it, and you keep making those actions towards it, you will manifest it out. Often, success takes years and struggle upon struggle, things that you may perceive as the obstacles. But those obstacles are part of this journey and are part of what we're supposed to get some enjoyment. It's the learning that we go. So when we have those good things that happen along what we're trying to manifest, that we believe we're going to do, and we have the good things that just kind of coincidences, serendipitous events, things that just happen that help us to go in that direction, that is the positive part of the journey of where you can see yourself manifesting it. Sometimes though we hit the hurdles where it feels like, oh my God, is this just the day? Is it just this that I'm trying to create? Where you feel like you hit those blocks and blocks and blocks. And that's where the believing is going to need to stay strong. Because maybe right now, You're hitting these obstacles, which are part of the journey, that's trying to be manifested and created. So we have to stay strong with our beliefs, believe what we need, but we cannot be in our comfort zone. Because if we're in our comfort zone, like, okay, it's great, meditate, put out your intention, but are you doing any actions? If you're not physically moving, doing anything, trying to get towards those opportunities, the things we want to manifest, if you're not doing things towards it, it's not going to really happen. Or if, like, okay, this may happen, it may, and maybe you can manifest it, but the reality is you want to come across more abundance. Often I see people that want more money. They're like, oh, if I just won the lotto, I could solve all these things. They have these grand plans of what to do with this chunk of money. And then their only way of going forward to get that is by buying lotto tickets. Great. Are you manifesting that you're winning those lotto tickets? Do you believe you can actually win that lotto? Because if you deep down have that doubt, you're probably not going to win from the lotto. Vice versa, if you really believe that, yeah, I'm going to win from this, like this money just comes and this is just how easy it is, you will most likely manifest it if you believe it. And you truly believe it, like in that gut instinctual area that was mentioned today in the cards, is like that intuitive body connection, that body-mind connection. So believing, if you believe you can do it, you can do it. If you believe you can't do it, you're not going to be able to do it. And that is how things run. You know, it's like a parent who doesn't even think twice about, you know, they'll do, like I've heard stories where parents lifted up vehicles getting their kids out from under it because they didn't even think, there wasn't even a lack of thought in the moment that they didn't have the strength to lift up this vehicle. They truly, in their entire being, believed it in that moment, which gave them this superpower in that moment. So that is what we're all have the ability to do and the ability to create. But the comfort stops us. The comfort doesn't give us any internal motivation to want to go into discomfort, because the comfort is comfort. Why would you want to be discomfort? But the discomfort is what motivates you and keeps you on that belief as well. Because if you really believe, because of the discomfort behind you in whatever scenario it is, so maybe the discomfort is health, and you know, the discomfort of walking upstairs, or you know, just fitting into certain things, or whatever it might be. And if that discomfort is just so much that it bothers you, that you just believe you have to. There's no other option but to be in better shape, but to be healthier, but to be healthier in all options too. Like being that open and believing that and believing it. You're going to get into that, because then you will get your body into your belief system where it will no longer be an obsession. It'll no longer be relevant. It'll be maintenance, and you'll be able to expand into other wishes and manifestations. So belief is the key. If you believe you can do something, you can do it. You can. I know you can. You know you can. If you don't believe it's a possibility, if you don't believe whatever your grand event is, maybe you want to open a healing center, maybe you want to, you know, help starving children, whatever this is, but you don't believe it's possible, you're not going to manifest it. But if you believe it's possible and you know, and you keep manifesting it through your intention, you know, goal setting, meditating, doing that, a mixture, putting steps towards it, like doing things like, okay, are you helping people locally so you know what it's like? How would you do like just anything around it, right? Starting to do those steps to help create the energy, because you're believing energy will attract it. It's the manifestation. You believe it, you intend it, you will attract it. And then so that is the point. The belief is key. If you believe you can do it, you will create it. And if you don't believe you can do it, you're never going to create it. So you have to find that way to get over the comfort zones, the things that stop you from really truly believing what you want to manifest is a possibility and can be real. And we have to take those big steps, because we have to convince ourselves through, whether, you know, like I said, repetition, writing out your goals, meditating, just intention setting, and believing that you can. Like if you believe, like I said, the parent that lifts up that vehicle in that moment to save their child, that does essentially look superhuman, they believed it in that moment. There was no excuses. They believed it. They picked up that vehicle and they lifted it up and saved their child. They didn't have an option. They believed it in that moment. And that's what we need to have, is if we believe what we can do, we will create it. But again, we have to be kind that sometimes this stuff manifests out over time, like I mentioned. And with the manifestation of it, we'll have many times where we're in line and like everything opens, and it just seems to flow. And that's wonderful. But sometimes we might hit those obstacles, like I mentioned, where it feels like you're just kind of getting stuck. But with how we're manifesting, often we are looking for the right time. So sometimes we get those hurdles because it's not quite the right time. And then when the timing is changed and all of that is opened, because we keep believing it and we didn't stop believing in our beliefs, they're still part of them, part of our creating and our manifesting. We didn't stop. We get past it. But we learned so much through those difficulties. So that would be like the comfort zones and getting past the comfort zones to find that better way of being. All that learning is super important, and we can't forget, and we have to remember and appreciate that learning that we get from it. The learning that, whatever, if it was an experience that we perceive as being not pleasant, what were the positiveness of it? Just like I mentioned yesterday, the discomfort I felt is really what motivated me to kind of go forward. And if I wouldn't have had that discomfort, would I have had that motivation, right? So those opportunities, they're opportunities for us to make the changes we need. Discomfort is part of the evolution of humanity, that we're being hit with discomfort so we will rise up in our beliefs and knowing our own internal willpower that no matter what's going to happen, we're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. We're going to be fine because I believe that. I believe it truly. I believe it. Do I want to see certain things? No. And do I believe that I can create an environment around me that I can be able to observe from a distance without being pulled in? And I do believe that. I do believe I can observe it from a distance without being pulled in. And that's what I want to continue to create. So belief is the key. If you believe whatever you want to create and you feel it, you will create it. If you don't believe it, and if there's that lack, or in that back of your mind or in the pit of your stomach, like I was talking about with the cards from today, that, it's that intuition, that body intuition. If you feel any of that twinge, that's just that little disconnection, that little bit of doubt, that's that disbelief. And there has to be something you have to get over, or else you have to rephrase what you want to believe in. And just what is it that's stopping you from believing what you want to believe, right? And this is all comes down to our mind. And we're really fixing our mental health by noticing the comforts that stop us from taking those steps forward. So that's the problem, is we have these discomforts, or the comfort stops us from going forward until we have a discomfort that literally shakes us to have to make a step forward. Now, part of that is then believing, because that comfort that we finally got discomfortable with, that discomfort finally motivated us into an internal belief that something needed to change. And as I was mentioning earlier, when you become discomfort and you start to feel the discomfort and you start to make changes, you start to believe that even if there's discomfort on that change, it's not that bad. That discomfort still seems more pleasant than the discomfort of where you're coming from. And that there's more possibilities that that's not going to be discomfort, because we're always seeking comfort. So we have to believe, and believing is that key, and then we can manifest what we want to do from there. So I hope that this gives you, some thought on how we can create. And the more alignment that we get with our source, spirit, divine guidance, the easier it is going to be to manifest going forward. And believing is the key, and moving past our comfort zones. So I hope you have a wonderful day. And until tomorrow, have a beautiful one. Namaste.